Right then, headlights and tail light restoration. You'll notice, well, you've probably noticed throughout a lot of the videos that the headlights on the Golf have got this horrible kind of UV damage and stuff, and that needs sorting out. Basically, you can see it, you can feel it, it looks rough, it looks horrible, and also it can affect, if it starts to kind of creep down further over your headlight glass, it can start to affect how well they work, basically, because obviously the light isn't being projected out as well or as cleanly and things like that. But more importantly than anything, it looks horrible. So I'm going to go through having a bash at trying to sort it out today. The kit I've not used before, admittedly, but they all kind of do the same sort of thing. So the whole idea behind it is to very carefully sand back the top layer and remove all this kind of damaged area. So obviously we're not just going to concentrate on this area, I'm going to do the whole lens, but this is the main area that's pretty bad, and there's another little patch down here. Is you sand back the whole of the glass, the whole of the lens, with different grades of sandpaper, essentially. Some of the kits, like the one I've used before, which is the Auto Glim kit, it's all on a spinner that you chuck in a drill, and you just do it all with the drill, just working your way over the whole thing, gradually increasing the grit level of the grit number, if you like. But it's actually what you're doing is you're using finer and finer sandpaper. So you'll start off with something that's like, I don't know, 800, maybe 1,000 grit or something. So you then get a real kind of like milky finish, and then you'll gradually go up the numbers, so it's getting finer and finer and finer until you're almost polished, and then you finally go over it with a polishing buffing wheel. Unfortunately, Halfords didn't have one of those kits in today, so I picked up instead the Maguire's kit. It works very similarly. I've got it all sort of prepping already. These are the little sanding pads, and they're all numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, all different gradients. If you feel them, you can feel that number 1 is the roughest and number 4 is the smoothest. Now these all need to be nice and wet so that the surface stays nice and lubricated, so you're not just scoring away at the surface. And you also need a spray bottle so you can keep it lubricated, so you're just working very, very fine levels rather than really taking it all back, because then you can cause damage that is really difficult to take out. And then once you've gone through the process of using those 4 different levels of sandpaper, you've then got in here like a cotton wool buffing wheel and a polishing solution, which you then just work your way over, gradually buffing it up. And then basically it's all about time, really. I did mine on my TT just during our Easter break, and because I had nothing else to do during the day, I chucked on a podcast, sat outside the front of my house, nice and comfy, had a drink, and spent just shy of 4 hours just doing my headlights. Admittedly, I then had to wash my car because I'd sprayed polish everywhere. It was all down to bumpers and everything, so I ended up spending like 6 hours on my car. But yeah, it was good fun. But obviously I've taken the headlights and the tail lights out of the Golf purely because it's easier, and also I'll make less mess, and it's easier for us to do a video because I can kind of have it here showing you, and Sammy can bring the camera in and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get started. Like I said, you need to make sure that the surface is kept nice and wet so it all stays kind of lubricated, and you're not just really scoring up the lens, because then you're just going to do damage that is going to get really difficult to sort out. Then you find your pad. These have been soaking it. I read the box, I read the instructions like a good boy, and it said you need to soak these for up to a minimum of a minute to prep them. And then you're just going to keep everything nice and moist, nice and wet, basically. And then you just work your way over. I know in the instructions it says about doing directionals. So for number 1, it said do side to side. Number 2, up and down. 3, side to side. 4, up and down. So you get like a cross-hatching effect. But I'll be honest, I'm so used to sanding and buffing and things like that in a circular motion, I'm probably naturally just going to fall into that. I don't think it's going to cause any issue because, like I say, with the Auto Glim kit that I've used before, that's a circular motion anyway. So I don't think it's going to do any harm. Obviously, if the instructions say side to side and up and down things, try to do that. But, I'm a bit too long in the tooth now to listen to all the instructions, I'll be honest. So yeah, I'm just going to crack on and we'll have a look at each stage, see if we can see a difference after each one. I'll wipe it off, dry it off. We'll get the camera in, see what's changed as we go along. Yeah, all right, enjoy. Right, that's one done. It's not a product review, but I don't know. I think just based on my own experience of restoring my own headlights and stuff, I kind of feel like there's still like edges to where the damage was. So obviously I ended up really working on the area, doing the opposite of what I said. I didn't say, I said that I wasn't going to just be working on the damaged area, but with those sanding pads, you seem to only be able to remove the damaged kind of layer, and it doesn't seem to let you, without being there for hours, I guess, and wearing your arms to little nubs, you wouldn't be able to sand off that whole top layer, but that's what it kind of feels like you need to be able to do. And I think with the other kits, where you've got the sanding on like a sanding disc on a drill, you'd be able to work away at removing that top layer. I don't know, I may be wrong. People might be saying, oh no, that's not what you're meant to do. You're not meant to remove the whole layer, just the damaged area, which I get, but it does mean that close up you can still see where the damage was, because there's a distinct difference between this area and then the area kind of lower. But from a few feet away and a bit of an angle, looks a lot better. It's a good looking, much clearer, much fresher light. And if I bring up the other one, which I haven't touched yet, put it next to it, there you go, you can see that one is considerably clearer than the other. So obviously it works, does its job. It's just, I don't know, I just prefer the other sort of style of kit. But it's cool, it's going to look a lot fresher, it's going to look a lot cleaner. So I'm going to crack on with this one, just go through exactly the same process again. Time's your friend, basically. The more time you can spend on doing it, the more time you can spend on taking it all back and getting a real nice uniform finish, the better the end result's going to be. And like I say, it's all just going to be clearer and much nicer. And this one, you can hear all that rough layer. It's gross, it's horrible. But yeah, so I'm going to crack on with this, and we'll be able to then poke them back in the car. And then, like I say, 6 feet away, front of the car is going to look absolutely cracking. Light's going to be loads better, and it'll all be looking a lot smarter. So yeah, there we go. Right, lights are looking loads better, and from 10 feet away, I think you'd also agree that they look loads nicer than they did. But as I said earlier, I don't know, the kit was good, and I think if the lights hadn't been quite so badly damaged, then it would work a treat, and there wouldn't be anything kind of left over. So maybe they've been left too late or something like that. So obviously, like I said, it's not a product review or anything like that. We went and bought the kit ourselves, haven't been given anything. It was just what was available, and it's done a good job. And they look loads nicer than they did, loads clearer. They're going to work better. And but yeah, I just think the Auto Glim kit would take off that top layer that sort of seems to be left. But it's all good. We can look at that later down the line. The main thing is, look how much better they look. If your lights looked all yellow and horrible and sun damaged and things, it just shows that even if you just had some different gradients of sandpaper knocking around. As long as it's wet and dry and it goes up to a real nice fine, like 2,500, 3,000 grit, then you're going to be able to get a real nice finish on removing any sort of crud and crap off your lights. And then with a polishing mop and a decent bit of polish, you can then polish them up. Beauty of the kits is it all comes in one thing, so you just go through the stages, work your way through it, and use it all. But you know, if you've got those various bits knocking around at home, then you can do it, and it works a treat. It's a nice thing to do. Like I said a few times, I've done my headlights a couple of times, and yeah, it's quite therapeutic. It's quite nice. It's enjoyable. Spend a bit of time on your car, make it a little bit nicer. But yeah, there we go. Another job ticked off on the Golf. So keep watching all the videos. Check out all the other ones we've done, and we'll see you again soon. Take it easy.